Randy, would you go ahead then and unmute Michael Hanley?
He's not been muted.
Oh, okay, so he's live. Okay.
Okay, you guys, my name is Randy Shannon, and it is 8 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. We are live. This is our 42action.org weekly law call. We're so glad to have you guys out here tonight. We have a little bit different call that we're going to start out with tonight. Normally we go into the law and we go into cases, foreclosures, unlawful arrest, current events, things going on around the world, and a lot of times we'll do our programs on health and nutrition and preparing for all the things that we're being bombarded with today. But tonight we're going to take a little bit different twist. We're going to go down a different rabbit hole, and it's one that we have not gone into on this call ever. So I'm anxious to get our speakers on the line here and get them introduced. There is a few that are going to be on here tonight. We have Keith Broaders, we have Michael Hanley, and we have someone named John. John, I didn't get your last name, where you're out of.
It's John Cacerab. John Cacerab of Riverside.
Very good. Oh, so he's a Californian also. Okay, yeah. Excellent. Okay,
we also have Laura Newman-Jones.
Outstanding.
From Palm Springs.
Well, as more join in and there's openings for everybody to talk, that'll be great. Just include them in it. But I just wanted to open up the floor to you guys and have you talk about what's going on, what are you guys excited about, and tell us what you're here to talk about tonight. You've got the floor.
Okay. Well, first off, my name is Keith Broaders. I became a crowdfunder, a project manager, originally with GoFundMe and also another group called Indiegogo. And both of those crowdfunding programs that I was involved in were not very successful. And the reason was because of the fact that I was the one who had to produce all of the leads, all of the contacts, and all of the marketing. And my database was not large enough for me to generate a tremendous amount of production. I went for about 3 or 4 months on both projects, and both with GoFundMe and Indiegogo, I raised a little over $200 on each. And so my initial impression was that crowdfunding doesn't work. And the reason that I came to that conclusion was because of the fact that when you're doing a traditional crowdfunding program, you have to, again, like I said, you have to do all of your own marketing. You have to find the clients, and you have to send the information to your clients, and you have to beg for money. And the problem that I encountered is that the people that I sent the message to did not have any money. Most of the people were not able to donate to my project because they didn't have enough money to basically pay their basic bills. I think one of the things that I learned was the fact that there are a whole lot more people out there that need money than there are people out there that are willing to donate money to your dream or to your passion. And this is where the program that we're involved in here is different. The reason being is that we give people a reason, or we give them an incentive to donate to our projects. They donate to our projects because we help them. It's a matter of sharing. We help them fund their projects, and in exchange for our assistance, they help us fund our projects. Now, what I would like to do at this time is turn the microphone over to someone who got into this business about a year ago in July of 2014. His name is Mike Hanley. He has created a situation where there are 25,000 people in 60 countries around the world now that are part of his organization. He has over 25,000 project managers who are raising money to fund their dreams. And as they fund their dreams, they help Mike fund his dreams. So Michael Hanley, welcome aboard and welcome to the call.
Well, thank you so much, Keith, and good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I understand that this is something you haven't really had on a call before like this, but I think it's going to be well worth your time and interest. And if you have a pen and paper, it might be worthwhile to take some notes. You have to excuse me. I was heading to my home, and I had to park in a parking lot, and so I have a little noise here, which should go away in just a second. But anyway, I started July 5th of last year with an organization called We Share Crowdfunding, and I had never heard of it before. I had a dear friend who was a professional football player who was very sick, very ill from the banging that he took over several years, going from high school to college to the pros. and his body is just racked in pain, and he has the concussion syndrome, and the NFL just didn't think anything about it. They denied everything, and still that's going around and will be in the courts. But he was having a particularly bad episode, and he was telling me how he needed to raise money because he couldn't perform duties on a daily basis in a job or anything else because he never knew when he was going to be well enough to work. And so he told me about this crowdfunding, and I hadn't heard anything about it, but I wanted to help him raise money for him because if we could do that, maybe there might be something out there that could help him at least, only 50 years old, would have a sense of, self-worth and also feel a lot better. But in any event, so we started July 5th, and I sent this out to two people who I trust and love dearly to take a look at to see if we could raise some money for my good friend Chuck. And I got a call back from one individual who told me he was not interested. It didn't look or smell like something he'd want to do. And the other fellow pretty much the same thing. But that was on a Friday, and on a Monday, both of those had come in and become project managers and put their donation in to me. And so I called them and I said, "What's going on here? I thought you said you weren't interested." They said, "Well, there has to be some changes that because you're just getting started, but this has the potential. This has the potential of being the new economy. This has the potential of providing enough money for every man, woman, and child on the planet to live comfortably and peacefully, and maybe even more than that. Because money is just an energy, and we're told there isn't enough of it by the banks, by our government, by everybody. And so, to me, I was in the process of fighting for my life to save my home, and that was in July. Well, we actually shut the system down for a couple of months to get it legal, to get it compliant, to get the things going. And the last piece we really needed was a payment system which incorporated a debit card. And we were having a heck of a time trying to find that. Well, anyway, December 24th comes and I lose my home. I have a little boy, I have a beautiful wife, and we're out of our home on December 24th with no place to go. And so I had just 20 years had that house, and it was gone from me. And my poor woman in my life who married me for love but didn't marry me for the street corner. And the thing was that she was with me, and we got a bargain rate at a hotel, and basically what happened on Christmas Day was the magic. This debit card system came into play. People from all over the world started donating to causes, and mine was one of them. And here we are, fast forward 6 months, almost 7 months later, and I've got to tell you that the donations keep rolling in. Now, why does that happen? Because why wouldn't that happen on GoFundMe or Kickstarter or any of the other crowdfunding sites? Well, number one, because you have to do all the work. You have to pay fees. You have to pay for your site. You have to create something that is different from all the others that put their sites out that you are, in effect, competing with. And so there was a woman that lived down the street from me that had been in GoFundMe trying to raise $60,000 because she had breast cancer and needed breast surgery. And so I don't know whether she's alive or not now, but after 18 months of being on GoFundMe, her fund never hit $4,000. And guess what? She never got a penny of the $4,000 either, because GoFundMe doesn't release your donation to you unless you make your goal. So she probably died with no help. Now the problem is, most people are dying in those programs because they're not marketers, they're not advertisers, they're not business people. They're people who are very poor and have problems. They need to raise money to pay their medical bills. They need to raise money to keep their house in payment form. They need money for school education for their children. They need money for any cause. And guess what? They need a team behind them, too, that make a difference, that help them get what they want. Because suddenly my project of trying to not save my home, but to get a new home started on Christmas Day. And I believe Keith, I will tell you this. I believe by the end of this year, my wife and I will pay cash for a home close to $500,000, a dream home for her. And it will have come from all the funders that came into this project to help me, because I was also having a team to help them build their dream model too. So all of a sudden now, my project meant nothing to them because they had an opportunity to go out and create their own project and pay it forward and help others do the same thing that we're doing. So now we have 20 to 25,000 people in this program, and I believe after a couple of things that they're doing right now, that we could have 1 million people in this a year from now. Why is that? Number one, there's no money in the world. Number two, there's no job in the world that will pay you what you're worth. Number three, you're being told that there's no way that you're going to have health benefits or you're going to have any security, because the government now is looking at taxing you out of everything you got. So here's where we are. This is a beautiful program, and we call it the new economy. We're in effect creating a whole new currency system around the world, helping people who need money get it because they have a project, and they're willing to help other people do the same thing. Is there anything more perfect?
Michael, let me mention one thing. We have been stuck into a paradigm that was created for us by the bankers. We've come to the sad realization that in order to be successful in life, we have to compete with and defeat our neighbor. And that's not what the Scriptures tell us. The Scriptures tell us that we are to love our neighbor, which means that we need to care. We need to care for our neighbor. We need to share, and we need to cooperate with our neighbor. We don't need to defeat him or compete with him. And when people work together in harmony with one another, we create an energy which is absolutely remarkable. If you take one apple and you take one seed from one apple, there's a seed that has the potential to become a tree. And that tree has the potential in several years to generate 800 to 1,000 pounds of apples. And that's what we need to do. And in this company, what we're doing is we are the planters of seeds. We're told in the Scriptures again that as you sow, so shall you reap. If you want to receive more from life, you've got to give more. And so what this company is involved with is actually applying the principles of the Bible, and that is that you must sow before you reap. You must plant before you harvest. And frankly, this is a different paradigm, and this is what makes us different than all of the other crowdfunding platforms. And that is the key to this working together. It's because people are working together for our mutual benefit rather than competing with each other for the benefit of the bankers.
Keith, you couldn't have said it better than that. I agree with you wholeheartedly. And for people that are sitting around here, I'm just going to say this. If you're a victim, this won't work for you. But if you're somebody that has honest to God belief in humanity, that we can turn around our world and make it a better place, a safer place, a place of no war, a place of peace. Why would you go and bomb a country that has the same hurt that you do? They're just hurting from lack of funds too. And so I believe what's going to happen is that this, by the way, this started about 15 years ago, not our company or our organization, but the whole concept of crowdfunding. And the first year, most of it was outside the United States and generated about $500 million in donations to people around the world. Well, fast forward till this year, as of the end of 2014, there was $16 billion donated to people through all the countries in the world helping each other at the grassroots level, not at any government handout, but at the grassroots level, not at any church level. It's coming from human beings helping each other. And so the beauty of this, in my view, is it won't make a difference what happens as long as we have a way in which we can help another human being get started, get back on track, and they can help somebody else. It's a pay-it-forward model. When you do this, you'll get as excited as I am about it. And I started with 2 people to get where I am today. All you need to do is think about, are there 2 people out there that I care enough about when I have my project ready that I could offer it up to them and have them do something? If you can't find those 2 people, this isn't for you. But if you have 2 people, it can lead to literally several thousand people in a 6-month period with the help of a team. So, Keith, if there's anything else you want me to say, please do it. But this year we expect crowdfunding worldwide to hit $25 billion of donations. Why not get out there and receive some of that yourself?
Well, there's a big piece. There's a big piece of pie, and I think each and every one of us should claim our chunk, our piece of that pie. And it's very easy to do that. Let me just ask you to give people just a really brief explanation of what does one need to do essentially to get started. I mean, is there a big capital outlay or anything like that? Is there any money required up front?
Well, you're going to be asked to give a donation to the person who brought you to the table. The maximum donation that anyone gives to the person who got you started is $200 one time. And so that is the key to this. If you can do that and you can afford to give a friend a helping hand by giving them $200 one time, then from there we ask you to find 2 other people that are like-minded like you, and we'll give $200 to you twice to help you because you've already given $200 out once. And from there, that combination of 2 people giving $200 and that one time I gave up $200 has led me to several, and I'm not permitted to tell you what it is, but several $100 a day of donations from 60 countries around the world. And it's doubling every 2 months or less. That's because people care. It's not about me. It's because they care. And so and that's basically it, Keith.
Well, the one thing that I want to mention also is that we're experiencing such phenomenal growth here recently that the server that we've been using since December has basically blown a fuse. It turns out that we've had so much traffic and so many donations in the last several weeks that the server has failed us, and it does not have the capacity to deal with the traffic that we're getting at this time. And so as we speak right now, you can't sign up right now for the period of probably another 4 or 5 days, because we are right now in the process of taking all of the data and all of the information and transferring it from our former server to a brand new server, which will be much more efficient in handling the traffic that we anticipate will be coming to us in the coming year.
Yes.
So because of that, if I can jump in there, what we're doing, not everybody on this call tonight actually gets the email because some of them see my post out on the social media. So I'm going to give out a phone number for those that are interested. If you got your pens and paper, write it down. It's area code 319-804-9163. 319-804-9163. That is my direct voicemail line. Sometimes I do answer it, but if you called it right now, it would go to my voicemail because I'm on the phone. But that is for anyone who has even a remote interest, a spark of interest, questions, things like that you won't get answered on tonight. You call that, and I and my assistant will be calling you back tomorrow to get any questions answered. Also, for those that get an email, if you look in the email, there's a link there. However, like they said, the site, they're switching servers, so it's down at the moment, but there's a link in there. But you can also send an email to support@42action.org. 42action.org. So reach out one way or another, and I or my assistant will get back in touch with you immediately. Go ahead, gentlemen.
I would also like to say that if anyone would like information, they can also contact me, and I will provide some information. My name is Keith Broders, and my number is 951-282-3271. The one thing about this which is so wonderful is that, you know, if you belong to a church and your pastor is continually strapped for cash and he needs donations to be able to fund the church and to be able to spread the gospel and this sort of thing, wouldn't it be great if the people in the congregations had more money for themselves so that they could afford to give more to their church? And with this program, a pastor could basically go to his parishioners and he could say, look, if you participate and set up a crowdfunding program, you may be able to generate maybe another $500 to $1,000 a month that you don't have right now. And if you get $500 to $1,000 a month more than you get right now, do you think you might be able to donate an extra $200 or $300 a month to the church? So what's happening here is that you're actually paying people to make donations to their charitable causes. If you have wounded warriors, if you have a passion for feeding the hungry children around the world, all of these are just wonderful projects. But, there's another project called Getting Out of Personal Debt, getting rid of the necessity for my children to have to pay, go into debt to take out a student loan to go to college. All of these things are very worthwhile projects, which are certainly can be used. Now, with GoFundMe, there was a case recently where a family up in Oregon did not want to bake a cake for a lesbian couple that wanted them to bake a cake for their wedding, and they started raising money on GoFundMe, and then GoFundMe got criticized by this gay couple, and the next thing you know it, GoFundMe says we have to terminate your project because it isn't politically correct for us to donate money to people who want to exercise their rights granted to them by their creator. So there's also political overtones to most of the traditional crowdfunding websites. And that's one of the beautiful things about where we are is that we're involved in a program where there's, first off, GoFundMe and these other programs, they generally take a 5 to an 8% of their percentage of the donations made. They keep that just simply for hosting your project page. Well, with our program, 100% of all the money donated goes directly to the project manager. The company does not take anything. 100% goes directly to the project manager. This is unheard of. It's the only company that I know of that has that situation.
I can speak firsthand because I've had a fundraiser going on CrowdWriter in regards to 42 Action. So the lack of activity, definitely, I can grasp that. What's some of the causes? Like, give some people some ideas of what it is that they may, they might have something and they're not quite sure if this is something that they can use. What's some projects? What's some of these fundraisers that are out there?
Let me give you one that's near and dear to me. I was out of a home and I had nowhere to go, and so I had to see if there were anybody out there that could help us even find a place. And I found the people I called turned a cold shoulder, but I was in this crowdfunding, and I'm still raising money today for that same cause because I wanted to get a safe place for my wife and my son to live. And so this goes on and on. So there are many, thousands upon thousands of people, hundreds of thousands of people in the United States would join if they knew that they could have some way, some roadmap to save their home or get a new one because they've just lost theirs. That's one. Two, credit card debt. The biggest thing right now on anybody's balance sheet, personal balance sheet, when they go to get a home loan, is if they've got credit card debt, they are denied any sense of a mortgage by the bankers, and that's their excuse. They don't want to pay. So I'm helping mortgage brokers show them how they can pay off their credit card debt so they can get a loan. Well, guess what? If we can get them, if we can get them to the point where they can get a loan, they're going to start looking at funding so that they don't have to pay that loan. They can pay the loan off using a program that we've put together. People are desperate for raising money for a car, for tires on a car, for a new roof, for an education for themselves or their kids. I mean, the list goes on and on and on what the possibilities are. And as long as you're doing it with a motive in mind, and that's to get yourself out of the quagmire you're in so you can turn around and help other people do it, that's the Bible.
Well, one of the things, Michael, that I think is really important, too, is that when you make your one-time donation of $200, that is all that you will ever donate into the program. And if you go out and all you do in your career is enroll 2 people, you will get $400 in donations, which will give you double your donation back to you. And so the total expenditure to participate in the program is $200 for life. That's all, period. And yet, as Michael said, he's earning right now several $100s a day is coming in. All of that came because he planted a seed. He planted a $200 seed, and now he's getting 3 or 4 times that much back on a daily basis. So again, you can't harvest until you plant, and planting the donation seed of $200 is the key to getting this thing going virally.
All right, sounds good. Now, somebody already immediately called me on the 319 number, and I cannot answer right now because I'm on this call, but let me give it again. This is where we're fielding all the calls for now, directly through myself, my assistant, and actually I'm partnering up on this with Kelby Smith. A lot of you know who Kelby is, with his advocates. So we're going to be rolling this out to people on his side, people on my side, and outside of our circles as well, because we really see something in this. So do me a favor, write down the number 319-804-9163. One of the things that we run into all of the time is people in a hurt lock financially because of the foreclosures, because of the law things that they're going through, because of the cost if they are actually hiring attorneys. This is a real issue, and the economy is getting totally squeezed. So it's an option. It's out there. You guys that know me know that I put everything out there on the table and let you decide if this is something that you're interested in. There's no forcing, nothing here. So the phone number, again, 319-804-9163. You can email me direct, support@42action.org, support@42action.org. Those are your 2 ways to reach out, and one of us will be in touch with you tomorrow, okay? I wanted to do, if you gentlemen were done with your part, is maybe open it up and see if anybody had any questions or comments.
This is Julio.
Yes, go ahead, Julio.
You know who I am. I just been listening. This is very, very interesting, and that I adore you. You know that. And that these gentlemen are very, 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 very intelligent. Obviously, what they're doing is really, truly amazing. And I just want to say hello to all of you. That's all.
Oh, thank you, Julio. Always glad when you hop on the calls. We don't hear from you.
Okay.
You need to hop in here more. Great. Well, I've sent you some information, so.
Yes, I got it. I'm in front of my
perfect.
computer. Thank you for the invitation to the program.
You're welcome. By the way, everyone, Julio is a singer out there in California.
I'm not a singer. I'm a guitar player.
Guitar, yes. Well, you're right.
He sings with his guitar.
Julio, what city are you from?
San Diego.
All right.
So, yeah.
And he plays really beautiful music, you guys. Where can they find you, Julio? Just go ahead and give yourself a link or something really quick.
Well, I can give you my Facebook page, or I can give you my YouTube page. My Facebook page would be fine for this crowd. I don't give it to just anybody, but I know you're all good people. It will be facebook.com, well, HTTPS. That's secure connection, of course. HTTPS, www.facebook.com/Julio.Gilberto, which is basically Gilbert with an O at the end, .1.
So music can be beautiful. So thank you for coming on. And if they didn't get it that way, you guys can always replay it. Shannon, he's in my friend.
You're really breaking up, Randy.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Or you can just contact me through Brandy. I mean through Randy. That's fine.
Yes.
Thank you.
Perfect. Okay. All right. Anybody else with any other comments or questions?
Yeah, I got a question, Randy. This is Dave in the Thumb. What are the tax implications of receiving any of these donations?
Good question.
David, excuse me, Michael, are you still there?
I am. I'm in a little bit of noise right now, but what was the question again?
Taxation.
What are the tax implications for anyone that gets any of these donations?
I'm not a tax advisor. What I can tell you is the company does not ask for your social or any tax ID or anything like that. There's actually IRS information on donations, and according to the IRS, any one individual can receive up to $15,000 in donations from any one individual. Well, the biggest donation that I've seen is maybe a couple $1,000, and so I'm well under the 15,000.
So it's per donation then?
It's per individual.
Per individual,
15,000.
per donation. I thought I heard Randy mention that when I got on the call. Somebody has made about $60,000 in this year or something on this.
Yeah, that guy didn't make it to our call. That gentleman. We're going to have to schedule him. Dave in Colorado was telling me about him today, and he was.
This is Dave here.
Yeah, that gentleman. I guess these guys don't want to talk the figures. So
can you hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you. Go ahead, Dave.
Okay.
Say what you know.
Regarding the taxation, the only time there's any taxation, I worked as a financial advisor for 17 years for a major insurance company. I dealt with all that type of thing. And back when I was in the business, you could give up to $10,000 to anyone, tax-free, per year. So your grandfather had 10 grandkids. He's got a bunch of money. If he leaves it where it's at, it's going to go through the estate, and the estate's going to eat it up. And he starts doing a gifting program. There's $1 million a year he can give away without paying a penny in tax. The only time there'd be any taxation, from my understanding, and I'm not a tax advisor either, is if one person provided a donation more than what the gifting program is, and because you're receiving multiple gifts from multiple people, none of this money would be taxable, to my knowledge.
Thank you very much.
Well, I love your spirit, and I don't want to go that far, but I'm taking a pretty positive attitude about it. But I think it's up to $15,000 a year per individual now, and we'll never even come close to that in any one personal donation.
That's right.
So, do you regulate how much each donation is to somebody?
Well, the maximum, I will tell you, the maximum that you will receive. And any one donation would be $5,000, and that's in any one donation. So it's 15,000 is the threshold. You're 10,000 below. But that's just what it is. And so there are people going to take a pretty strong attitude on it. And the thing is that this is generating far more interest than any of the other crowdfunders who are keeping your money and not giving it to you until you get to where it's supposed to get to you, and so I think the model that we have will be a global model that will probably start to get copied by people. But we've been through a lot to get where we are, and we're cutting through the final stage of this, where our next servers will be the biggest. It's through Amazon's. Systems that they have. They offer these kind of services to people, and they're global. And we think we'll have everything pretty well covered. And just remember this: you receive a debit card and an e-wallet, and that e-wallet is where your donations are stored, and you can draw from that. Now think about this: let's say 95% of the world doesn't have access to a bank or a banking account. But if you give them, now think about this, if you give them an e-wallet and a debit card, they can conduct business off their own smartphone. And there are 5.6 billion people on the planet. Most of them have smartphones now. But they can't conduct a business. So they're slaves to their country. They're slaves to the bartering system. And this opens up a whole new way of an economy that people can conduct business for the right reasons all over the world. This is exciting stuff, folks.
Yes.
I'd like to mention one other thing in regards to a project, and that is there's a lot of people out there that have a lot of passion and a lot of love for the disabled veterans. And there's an organization called the Wounded Warriors, and when you make donations to the Wounded Warriors, I understand that 90% of the money donated to Wounded Warriors goes to administration and marketing.
Yeah, they're a bunch of crooks. And
that the Wounded Warriors themselves get only pennies of each dollar donated. You personally, if you would like to help disabled veterans, you could set up a project in your own local community, and you could basically be the project manager. And all of the money that would be donated into that project could be managed by you. And you could take 5%, maybe 10% for your own costs of being able to manage this account, and then you could personally distribute it to the disabled veterans in your community. You could fund a local food pantry. You could do any number of things.
Yeah, reverse this $500,000 to $1 million these executives are taking out of these 501Cs in the names of helping people, and start giving it to the people who are bleeding for help.
Exactly.
That's what we're looking at. You can do that here.
Good.
Hey, guys, can I get in here?
Yeah, jump in.
Hi, Randy. I'm Johnny B. out here in Kansas.
Sure.
I've got a friend.
You beeping in on me?
Yeah.
Someone in Kansas has called me 3 times. Go ahead.
Well, no, that might be some of my friends out here.
Okay.
We're putting together a meeting for 4th of July out in Lebanon, Kansas, which is the geographic center of the 48th state. And we're doing an outreach with Network America and Jim Conant.
Okay.
And it's actually a friend of mine's kind of putting this stuff together. He's worked on this initiative in several different states. And his latest effort is going to be out of Smith County. But I've got a couple of questions here.
Sure.
It's recently been revealed that a lot of our problems we have in this country have been funded through the philanthropic donations to the Catholic Church in their trust fund. They were commandeered. They were commandeered by Saul Alinsky, I believe it was, and diverted off into the progressives and the neoconservatives, into the initiatives that's rolled us up to the point we're at today. And I was going to bring forward, the issues with the 501c3s. I got a friend that helped start some of the Rolling Thunder chapters.
Oh, this is about the crowdfunding.
And when they applied for the 501c3, the federal government got to come in and put constraints and mandates.
Hold on, I'm about to mute him. Hold on. Dave, mute your line, please. Thank you.
Thank you, Randy.
Go ahead. You bet.
That worked. He was working with the Rolling Thunder folks, with the disabled vet. And as they moved forward and started growing in numbers, they were approached to become 501c3 tax deductible. And when they got that classification, the federal government got to come in and put mandates on what they could do with their funds, how much people could give, that kind of thing, kind of the same thing that's happened with the organized religions. So here's my question. What kind of protections do we have in this crowdfunding? Is it offshore to where the United States federal codes do not come in and put constraints on us?
Well, let's answer that as best we can. Okay.
Okay.
The plans are that this will be a global kind of program, and all I can say is that the founders and the owners are taking a very aggressive attitude toward where they want to be, so that they're protected. That's all I can say.
Okay.
And so the other piece you need to know is that when somebody donates to you, it's in your e-wallet the moment that debit card is approved. It doesn't go to the company and they hold on to it and then give it to you. It goes directly to your account. And so we have thousands of people receiving money instantly. In the organizations that people have been subject to kind of punishing news that whatever it was they were doing was taken over, there were hundreds of millions of dollars in the company that were accessible, and they were seized. I just think it's going to be awfully hard to go chase 1 million people around the world and get their money back. My opinion,
Okay.
It may happen.
Let me jump in here just really quick. Hopefully you guys can hear me okay. I'm down to one bar. I wanted to intro Kelby Smith, good friend of mine, and have him say a couple words only because he's limited on his time. I need to get him to jump in right now. Kelby, did you have a couple things you wanted to say?
Yeah, well, thank you, Randy, and thank you guys for coming on. This is pretty interesting stuff. I'd like to kind of get my mind wrapped more around it. But just on the jurisdictional stuff, there's a lot of tax questions. There's a lot of questions on donations, questions on this, that, and the other. I want people to understand on this call that it's pretty well documented the IRS is 100% voluntary. And the reason why people go to jail is because they submitted information, signed 1040s, signed agreements, and offered themselves into a contract in which they ultimately have to pay. If you are not a U.S. citizen, but you are rather a citizen of the United States of America, known as a U.S. national under 8 U.S.C. 1101A21, there is no IRS tax ramifications for you as a man or a woman unless you use their IDs, unless you use their information, their passports, to open up bank accounts in your own personal name. We recommend that everybody start a ministry. Obviously, it's got to be for the purposes of what these guys are saying and bringing forward, which is serving God with it and serving man with it and feeding the people in this world. But if everybody started a ministry and it's done in the private, it's not a 501c3, it's either a foundation or a self-supporting ministry, and if everybody had confirmation from the federal government of a private man State of the Union citizen status, which I personally have, signed by John Kerry at the Department of State, confirmation of my application as a passport, as a United States of America, capital C citizen, not a U.S. citizen, then there is no ramifications, no contract in place, therefore no taxation. So if people are interested in that, we can help, and call that number Randy gave.
Thank you for that. So that kind of clears that up. I mean, it obviously isn't telling you how to do it, but for some of you that had the early questions, there is answers. So make sure you call the number 319-804-9163. We can really put a nice little package together where you are not paying the tax because you're not volunteering, and then you're able to do these fundraisers and help other people build their fundraisers to make, whatever it is that they're looking for that they need to change. So I want to open it up. Thank you, Kelby. I know you're going to be running here in just a second. So any questions or comments from anybody else?
I'd like to say, Randy, that it was great to hear Kelby again. I met him when he was doing some work trying to help us out with foreclosures. So it was really great to hear him and know that he's back there trying to help funnel this thing into a more
Thank you, buddy.
honorable position. So you're recording this, right, Randy? We'll be able to call back in on the replay. Mm-hmm. Excellent. I'm going to lead people into it. Thanks a lot, guys. I yield.
Anyone else? Comments or questions? Final words from you, gentlemen. You're welcome. Any final words from you, gentlemen?
This is Stephanie from South Dakota.
Sure. Go ahead.
I know Johnny B. from National Liberty Alliance, and we're trying to get the We Share crowdfunding going through there.
All right. Well, now you get to do it through this, and you get to do it the way that you're going to actually do something. You're going to see some results, hopefully. So hopefully you got the information on how to contact us, and we'll get it done. Anyone else? All right. Well, tomorrow we're going to be spending this entire day on it. So those of you that reach out, give us a phone call. You're going to be our first attention on this tomorrow. So make sure you're reaching out. I've gotten 3 phone calls from Michigan and I think 3 from Kansas while we've been on this call tonight. So there's clearly people on this line that are reaching out. Anyone else? Comments or questions, or gentlemen, final words?
I just want to thank you, Randy.
You're welcome. Well, I thank you guys, actually, for coming on and sharing the information. I know this won't be the last time, so we'll have you guys back after they get to the new server and the sites are up and people are able to really put this in place. In the meantime, reach out and we'll talk about, becoming tax-free And then when you join up in this, instead of giving a social, you're giving that tax-free number or associated with the entity. So just make sure you're doing it right.
Randy, the last thing that I want to say, this is Keith Broders again, the last thing I want to say, and that is that if you're not getting out of life all that you want, the key to getting more is giving more. Your wealth is not determined by how much you accumulate. It's based upon how much you give.
Absolutely.
That's it. Thank you for that.
If I may?
Yes.
Yeah, I'd like to ask, it was Keith who told the story about his losing his home and little boy and his wife?
No, that was Michael Hanley.
Michael. Is he still there?
I am.
Did you find a place for your wife and daughter? I mean, your wife and son?
Oh, absolutely. And we're accumulating, and this is all in my son's name anyway, because I want to set it. This is a trust, and I want to make sure that my wife, as the administrator of that, will take care of it. I have no interest in it, but the real key here is that we're accumulating these donations in a way that we're going to be able to live very, very well and help others do the same. That's our whole goal. We're going to help people who want help. If they don't want help, that's okay. But I haven't run into anybody who isn't in trouble on mortgage payments or enough money to meet their current expenses at home. There are not many people out there that do have that, that kind of security right now, and that's kind of where we're headed in helping people.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for your question. I appreciate it.
I have a question for you also. What kind of trust do you have? Is it a spendthrift trust? This is Stephanie from South Dakota.
Stephanie, I have to get to my accountant or attorney on that, and I don't have access to that right now. I just know that I wanted it protected, and they told me that's what they did. So,
okay.
But I'll try to get that information.
Great. Thanks so much.
Oh, sure.
All right, gentlemen, I think, what's that?
Does anyone have any comments, criticisms, point of views of Hartford Van Dyke's lien system?
Well, we'll get to that after we let these gentlemen go on this particular topic.
Okay.
So hold that question. Gentlemen, we want to thank you very much for giving us your time tonight, and we will be in touch, and much success to you. Hopefully we'll hear from you guys again here in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Randy. I appreciate having me on.
Thank you. Okay, so let's move on. We have another speaker who's coming up on the top of the hour, you guys. We have author David Dean. If you haven't looked him up, he'll give you the information on his books. Somebody had a question there about Hartford Van Dyke. We can go into that right now. I just wanted to give those gentlemen a chance to run if they wanted to. Sir, what was your question?
Yes, I wanted to know, has anyone pursued Hartford Van Dyke's lien money on the street system?
Do we have Wayne on the line tonight? Wayne, are you on? Anyone else? I know of Wayne, but he's not on the call. Is there anybody else that's using the Hartford Van Dyke's lien system? Okay. No. So, sir, we do have some people that are on our calls quite a bit. Do me a favor. Send an email to support@42action.org, and I will put you in touch with one of the gentlemen that I know is super tight with Hartford and does a lot of his stuff. Okay?
I am thanking you.
Say that again?
I am thanking you.
Oh, you're welcome. You're very welcome. If you would, though, just put it in all capital letters, because those are the kinds of emails that grab my attention, and just put that about what you're looking for in there and your contact info, not just an email. A phone number, too, is appreciated, and we'll get you two in touch, okay?
I have the message.
So, great. Anyone else want to talk about any of their cases? Anything that's going on?
I do have a question, please. I have a question, please. Can you hear me?
Well, you can.
This is John Kaserb in Riverside. I have to run. I've got another call I need to attend. It's a very interesting discussion. I want to say one thing. As a financial planner of 42 years, I've stopped doing all of my financial planning in 2008, and frankly, I wasn't doing much of anything for anybody until I found this program. And this is actually the best financial planning tool I've found in my 40 years. So we're going full speed with this. And the taxation issue is really a moot point. If you're thinking about that, then you're thinking about the de facto, and we're not there. Is this download? Is this recordable? Is there going to be a file I can download?
This is a recorded line, and the recording is, you dial back into the same, no you don't, 805-399-1299, which is just the last two numbers changed off your dial-in. So
well, you do have a file that's generated on the system.
It will be put up, yes. My assistant Eileen puts everything up typically within a few days. She's working on all of our files.
And do I go to 42action.org to get that?
You will find them there, and we've also opened up a new YouTube page. So if you go to 42 Action is the name of the YouTube page, you should be able to find us there.
Okay.
And I'll go ahead and throw it out since we're on the recording. The playback number 805-399-1299, and the PIN code is 779159#. And this call will be up on YouTube in 48 hours or so. Okay.
Great. Thank you, Randy. I hope to talk to you some more.
Yeah, I do too, because I've got your name on my Rolodex here. So make sure you reach out. Okay.
Okay.
Great.
Thank you very
so much.
Bye.
Okay. Who else? We've got just about 9 minutes or so till David Dean, the author, is coming up. Now, Ronald, if you're still on there, is Ronald on?
Yeah, I'm here. I was